Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tammy and I'm so glad that you're here. I am going to take some time today to talk about 2020, my goals, what I accomplished, what I didn't, and I want to start off this video by saying if you did not set any 2020 goals, or if you set 2020 goals and you feel like you had no energy to put towards those goals and your goal was simply to come out of 2020 with your health, your work, your family, whatever your priorities were intact, I want to make sure that you know that that is more than okay. That is definitely something to be grateful for and proud of. So please do not take the time of this video to feel like there is a need to compare what you did in 2020 to me or to anyone else. I want to share this for my own journey to document what happened and what I made progress on and what I missed. But also, I do hope to inspire you to set goals and find ways to adjust them when needed. So please join me today as we walk through my 2020 goals, and let's get started. If you've been here before, you know that in 2020 I used my MakseLife vertical planner. This was the first time that I had used a planner and goal system in one, but I made a list at the end of 2019 of the things that I liked most about goal setting systems that I had used and planners I had used for years, and what I wanted in my ideal planner. And literally, Sierra launched MakseLife in the fall of 2019, and it marked every single box, maybe except for one, which was that I once had a planner that had a monthly meal list written in, like built in, and that was nice. Not the actual meals, but a place for you to write out your meals for the month. You could easily do that in your digital calendar or on a family calendar, but literally everything else was in the MakseLife system. So in early 2020, I did move into my MakseLife and write out my goals. So what I wanted to do today was go over what those goals were, because I did not make a video at the time, and I wanted to talk about what I did and what I didn't do from those goals. So the first category is personal. And for 2020, I really had just written one goal, and that was to read 20 books, and for at least half of them to be related to my other goal areas. I read a lot of nonfiction, so this was not actually a huge stretch for me. It was basically a maintenance goal. I even started trying to write what I had read in that section in the MakseLife, but I didn't keep up with that. So I know that I have read at least 20 books in 2020, but I didn't really document them, so it's a little bit hard to say with 100% certainty that I did that. What I did transition to in the summer was focusing on trying to make sure that I was reading the book of the month for the MakseLife book club. And that was partially because I needed some community and some kind of accountability around the reading goal with everything that was going on with us at the time. I really wasn't reading very much at all from late spring into early summer. So that's basically how I transitioned on that goal. The next category is fun and recreation, and a lot happened in this category for us. So my goals in the fun and recreation category included maximizing my paid time off and traveling to Disney World at least 6 times before my annual pass expired. Yeah, so lots of travel I had planned. So clearly that didn't happen. I did actually get to Disney World at least 3 times in 2020. It's been hard to think about, it's just clearly been a crazy year for travel, but I definitely went in January and February, and February was a whole nother area of goals, which we'll talk about in a minute. But as far as maximizing my paid time off, this was something I wanted to be really intentional about, and basically I did accomplish this goal because I wanted to make sure that the days that I had that were flexible that I could use when I wanted, that I used them around weekends or important things for us as a family, whatever the case, so that I had longer stretches off of work at one time to really disconnect and make sure that I was getting the most of my time off. And I basically did that. I went a really long stretch in 2020 without taking time off. And that was definitely hard. By the time I took time off in October, I was definitely approaching burnout, but that really was just the circumstances of the year. We spent several months working exclusively from home, not going anywhere at all, like hardly even going to the grocery store, getting delivery or doing grocery pickup. And so that combined with getting back into the office some and having to adjust if other people were out for illness or whatever the case, just made it hard to take a longer stretch of time off until October. So I was very ready for my week, almost week off straight that I took in October. And then since then, I've done several 4 to 5 day stretches towards the end of the year around weekends. So I've definitely accomplished that goal, just not how I pictured. And then as far as my travel to Disney, I had gotten an annual pass and I was just basically excited to make the most of it. And given the circumstances, I do feel like I made the most of it. I actually took the option to refund the remaining portion of that annual pass when the option came up for pass holders late summer. Kind of regret that just because of a couple of reasons, but it was fine in the end that I did that. So you might feel like, well, Tammy, is that kind of like that whole goal a bust then? I definitely didn't reach 6 visits, but I had, of course, no idea what was coming. So given all the circumstances, I'm happy with how things turned out. And also, we basically readjusted this whole category since we weren't making other travel arrangements and trips together. We got a boat. So we had the opportunity to get a relatively small, relatively inexpensive boat from someone who knew someone type of thing. And we have been on that many, many weekends and some evenings as well. And it's just been fantastic. We live in Florida, for those of you who don't know, so we get a lot of time of year to use the boat. And even around, thunderstorms and, our work schedules and all of that, we really, really have maximized using that. So we feel like we definitely did a great job in this area as a family and as a couple. So I'm very happy with that area. The next category is work and learning. And I really just had 2 kind of general goals, definitely not very specific. I had started my current position in late 2019. So for 2020, my goal for my day job was simply to improve my skill and speed and accuracy in the position and just to get more familiar with the position and the company and so on. It worked out really great. I have a lot more flexibility because of everything and the team that we have. And I definitely feel like I have improved in this area and I did qualify for a raise based on merit that will take effect in 2021. So goal accomplished. The other goal that I set in this area was around the idea of building what I'm doing for fun right now into a legitimate business. And I wasn't necessarily setting a specific income goal, but basically just to kind of delve into this and see what I could do with the time that I'm spending on social media and making videos like this for you. It really is my goal to help inspire you to create a life that you love. And that has been my goal in years of blogging and just being part of women's groups and study groups and community activities and all of that my whole life. So it's just another expression of that. And it's kind of fun to me that I had set that in a year that turned out to where social media and online connections really were the way that we stayed connected to most people. So again, I feel like I reached the goal, even though it was not a very specific or measurable or any of those, parameters of a SMART goal type of goal. The 4th category in the MakseLife system is family and relationships. And we really knew that we were going to have some transition this year. Our daughter graduated college. She's our youngest. And we knew she would be making that change from college to career. Of course, we thought it was going to look a lot different. But basically, I wanted to make sure I was doing my part to coach her into her first career position, spending time with our granddaughters. Our second granddaughter arrived in February, and we're so grateful that she arrived when she did, and we were able to be there the morning after she was born, for us to be there when her older sister got to see her for the first time. We had already made another visit to her before, well, to both of them and our son's family, before everything shut down. And so we're really, really grateful for that. We were able to spend some time with them this year as things changed. Our son actually changed jobs, and their entire family moved out of state several hours away. So just to be able to maximize that, given all those circumstances, to be able to coach our kids, for us, as our kids are in their early and mid 20s, and even our daughter-in-law, you know, it's just the relationship with all three of them. We really feel like it's not our job to be the tell you what to do parents most of the time anymore. It's our job to be there for them as they need us, and to coach them as they are still young, relatively speaking. And we're really grateful that they like to come to us most of the time, for our opinion. So most of the time. So anyway, so we wanted to form, you know, bonds with our new granddaughter, and for me especially, that was important. I had been able to be with our older granddaughter from when she was born a lot, especially her first year. I actually stayed with her at least 1 to 2 weeks almost every single month of her first year, as our son and daughter-in-law were working and finishing college and all of that. So I really wanted to do that, even though we have been apart more than we had hoped and planned. I definitely feel like that I have formed that bond, and it is a real joy to get on a video call with her and see her 10-month-old face just light up. So anyway, so we feel like we did great in this area, and given everything that happened this year, really, really feel like this is the most important area and the most important things we could have achieved this year. The fifth category in the MakseLife system is health and wellness. And I basically highlighted goals as I accomplished them throughout the year. One of these was to complete the Disney World Princess 10K in February in my goal time. And I did that. I'm so, so glad. It's crazy to me to think we're coming up on a year from that time, and that was the last Run Disney race that was held. Everything else after that has turned virtual or been canceled or both. And, well, not both, turned virtual. But I was able to accomplish that goal. And I can't describe to you the feeling, at least for me. Physical activity and things like this is not something I spent a lot of time doing as a kid, like no time doing as a kid. So to do something like this, crossing that finish line after all the work that I had put into it, was very emotional. And I still get very teary thinking about how it felt, and what it smelled like, what it sounded like, what it felt like to run across that finish line. I definitely cried, like seemingly out of nowhere, as I crossed that finish line. It was very emotional. So to be able to accomplish a goal and do the work, do the training, be consistent, do it when it's hard, do it when you feel like you are not making progress. I mean, I cannot describe to you 5 or 6 weeks before the race, one of the longer training days, I went out and I did not meet the minimum time. So there's a minimum amount of time that you have to keep your pace when you're in one of these actual races at Disney World. And if you don't keep up, then you can get basically picked up and taken out of the race. And I have experienced that in person. So I had a real fear of that happening again. And so when I basically had that training day and did not meet the target just weeks before the race, I really, really felt doubtful and had to really reach out to the girls that we travel with for that weekend, when we all go together, and get their support, get their encouragement. I highly recommend you go check out Jen LaForge and her YouTube channel. She has Jen LaForge and Joyful Living with Jen. And those channels, she has information on her running and Run Disney. Whether or not you are doing a Run Disney race, I really, really recommend her videos. for just encouragement and running tips, and even like the tech and gadgets and all that kind of stuff. So thank you, Jen, for your encouragement. I'm so glad I found you when I was first looking at Run Disney stuff on YouTube, because you helped make a difference in this goal. Okay, so I reached that goal. I ran a virtual 5K in August, and then almost none of my other goals in the physical health and wellness happened this year. So they are going to definitely be a big focus for 2021. I did maintain my consistency with supplements that I take and my chiropractic care. I've had major back issues in the past, so this is really important to me. Definitely check that goal off. And we had a goal to create a habit of healthy dinners at home. Well, we definitely had a lot of dinners at home, but I don't know how many of them were healthy. Like, we did really good for a while, and now 50-50. Okay, then spiritual and personal growth. And the main goal I had in this category was to read the entire Bible, like in chronological order, in 2020. Didn't happen, like not at all. So hopefully in 2021, that is going to be a focus, and I'll talk about how I'm going to be approaching that different and why I think I'll be successful in 2021 when I go over those goals with you. But what I did do was basically transition to a focus on my Write the Word journals. I will leave a link below where you can shop the journals. They are from Cultivate What Matters, and I really highly recommend them. What's nice about them is there's no commentary. It is literally just a reference to scripture, a place for you to write that out, and then a place for you to journal around it. So there's not a teaching that's specific around it. It literally is just guiding you through a place to write things out. And I have already told my kids that that journal that I did as we went into lockdown and came through the summer, and they were all having their transitions with new jobs and moving and graduating college, I said, this is definitely going to be the pandemic journal that like grandkids will probably be interested to read and wonder, like, how did we make it through? What were we thinking? So I'm kind of glad that it worked out that that ended up becoming my focus. The next category is financial. And if you can see from this list, we had a lot of goals and we did not meet all of them. I wanted to make sure that I was preparing our budget monthly, tracking our expenses. We wanted to save a 3-month emergency fund. We wanted to pay off all our credit cards. We wanted to cash flow our daughter's college expenses, like finish that, save a certain percentage of my husband's income. He had changed jobs and they were not offering match the first year, but we were used to having a percentage taken out for match at his previous employer. So we just wanted to set that money aside and get with our advisor at the end of the year on what to do with that. We wanted to track the percentage of our income that we were investing every month, update all of our legal documents, and basically get everything organized. So everything from like tracking our investment percentage and getting our documents organized, none of that happened. I feel that's kind of ironic because I feel like if anything, 2020 should have made us feel the urgency for that. But I think we just had so much else going on, it just didn't happen. But I did a great job of preparing our budget and tracking our expenses. We were able to save a 3-month emergency fund, partially because of that job change and some things that happened there financially. And we have 1 credit card left at the end of this year that we will be finishing in the spring of 2021. And we did finish cash flowing our daughter's college expenses. So both of our kids graduated college debt-free, which is huge. And just, I mean, we feel like it's a big accomplishment for everyone. And our kids contributed a lot. Our son actually paid for most of his or had scholarships, and our daughter worked through most of the first couple of years of her college and saved towards the later 2 years. So we were really just able to help at the end, which we're grateful for. Okay, the rest of it, as I mentioned, didn't really happen. And the last category is physical environment. I had big plans to really get all of our photos organized digitally, physically, scrapbooks done, all the extra supplies that I didn't use to do that to be, used up or given away and all of that, and it didn't happen. So basically, I know where everything is, but I really didn't work on the actual organization of memorabilia and photos. And I don't have that on 2021 right now as a goal. And again, I'll talk about that. But basically, it is something I need to do. But it's just, there's too many other things that are taking priority right now. The next thing we wanted to do was to purge and digitally back up a lot of our old paperwork. When we moved about 3 years ago, I had boxes and boxes of papers sorted out, shredded if we didn't need them, and then what we did need, I gave to a local business that scans everything, creates a digital copy for you, which we have backed up to the cloud as well. And then basically they shred everything from there. So that was a huge step towards that we had done before moving. But what we wanted to do was kind of take the last couple of years and get things kind of straightened up. In the office that I'm sitting in right now, we actually started in January on a whim and completely revamped how we were using 2 rooms in the house and got this space set up as my home office. Wow, the timing on that, because it was all ready to go for me to work from home in March on, literally 2 business days notice. But in the process of that, we moved a lot of the paperwork stuff around for now. And I've only gotten about halfway through shredding old documents and getting all of that kind of straightened up. The last area that I wanted to do was to consolidate things by category for my arts and crafts and all of that, which we really did when I moved into this office. I should probably try and do an office tour soon. I'm really trying to get a few more things done in here before I do that, but I'm sure if you'd like to see an office tour, definitely let me know in the comments. And then I wanted to also purge and kind of get my clothes and my closet better organized. It actually was that way until about halfway through the year. And then it's basically fallen apart. So I reached the goal, but I didn't maintain it. So I'll let you decide if I get to cross that one off or not. And that is the 8 categories in the MakseLife system and how my goals turned out for 2020. Overall, I'm super happy. I definitely think having monthly areas to break these down and weekly actions to break these down and check in with is what made all the difference. I think it was a lot of goals for 2020, and I think the ones that I accomplished are a huge testament to how much commitment I had to the goal and how I adjusted as things changed. So let me know in the comments, what is one thing you are most proud of for accomplishing in 2020? And again, if that is the fact that you managed to juggle your job and keeping your kids educated at home or whatever it is for you, I still want to hear about it in the comments. Make sure you are subscribed with your notifications on so you know when I share my 2021 goals and what I have planned for the new year. So thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with me today. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, make sure you're on Instagram with me because that's where I am pretty much every day at Tammy Skipper. I'll see you guys soon. Happy New Year.